in light of, not having a forum Friday, we'll skip, reviewing the meeting minutes. And we'll figure out Mike reports going back to, for this for November. If we haven't met since.
Yeah. Yeah, I have November 7th. Thank you, sir. So we'll go over November 1st. That was, part of the, football season. We did very well in our Jet A. Avgas remained pretty much the same, but our Jet A spiked up a good bit, and, that helped us out in our bottom line. We, airport fees, we were ahead on that by 46, almost 47,000. So that was good. And then, then of course our expenses for Jet A and Avgas were relative to what we sold. Let's see, the airport administration, I was looking at that compared to December. It looked like December's hit in November. Was that right? Because
Say that again.
that, the airport administration, numbers were high for November, but low in December. So I was wondering if maybe they hit in November and didn't hit in, he says he's walking in now. And it was, that was reflected in December's that it hit more, because that was doubled. So that was my, assessment of that. Regardless, when you get to December, it all balanced out. Hello, sir. How are you?
Apologies for my prettiness.
That's okay. We're just going over financials right now. And so, if you're looking at November, we ended the month with 120, almost 121,000. Brought our actual of year to date to 350,000. And then going over December, we held our own there. We ended the month with 72,000 positive, and then our actual year to date was that bumped it up to 413,000. So we're looking very well still. Our fuel prices are still competitive. Our self-serve, not the cheapest, but not the most expensive. I try to stay around where Winder is, and I just noticed today that Winder's lower than us by about 10 cents. So I might adjust it next week. Covington, I heard their self-service is just crazy low, like $4 or so. There's no way I get to $4, but hey, how you doing? Have a seat over here. And there's no way I get to $4. So, I'll try to manipulate that number best I can, to get the most folks I can, in the airport, use the self-serve. Let's see, but other than that, it's pretty much cut and dry. Any questions on financials? We're doing very well still, so I'm happy with that. Let's talk about the projects we have, and if as I go along, if I forget one of the projects, just nudge me. But right now, the taxiway alpha project is in operation. There are some items that we have to go back and just a punch list items, just some small stuff. Well, there is one major thing that one of the retention ponds out there is a little higher in dirt. If we're facing, to the south, the one to the left, a little higher in dirt, and no, I'm sorry, it's a little lower in dirt, and they have to come and raise it up a little bit so that it'll flow into the second pond and then on out. So that has to be done, and of course, Snell knows that. They held off because the rain, had a lot of rain past month or two. And so they didn't want it to, be such a muddy mess where they come out there with their equipment and then get on the taxiway and, and then just create a big muddy mess out there. So we're trying to wait until, it gets dried a little bit. But I did send an email to them today, along with Andrew with RSNA, that we really need to step that up a little bit, get that done, because GDOT wants us to pretty much have everything closed out if we can on that project by April. So April will be here before you know it. So we got 2 good months, so hopefully we get that done. The, um, let's see, let's talk about the taxiway Bravo project. So as you know, we were doing design on the Bravo project, waiting for some fallout money to come. And, I got word last week that we're getting some grant money, to cover that taxiway Bravo. And so it'll be GDOT money, so it's 75-25. And it is fallout money. So a lot of the airports, I guess, that were offered money, for different projects, they didn't have their matching funds available. And so that's where the fallout money comes from. So, the project is 2 point something million estimated. There's no dollar amount in this grant yet because it will have to bid, and then, hopefully we can match the bid, like I say, it is 75-25, so the 25 will come, from us, our SPOS fund. And so, which we have money in there for that. I've already alerted, the SPOS folks, which would be about 700 some odd thousand perhaps.
So you already got that ready?
Yeah, we do. Yep. And yeah, I love this SPOS. And piggyback on that, we've got a new SPOS coming. And I did put in, for that as well, 5 point something million, like we did this past time, to carry us forward, for future projects. Because future projects, what I'd like to see is this ramp taken care of, beefed up a good bit, pushed out some. Like to get around the T hangers, get all around there and over here as well. And I'd like to build a T hanger. I got that in there as well, but I can use some of that money to build a T hanger. So, anyway, so just to put that out there as well. As far as the tower, let's see if I have that here. Not sure if I do. I had an email from, just to jog my memory, but it might be on my desk. From one of the, FA guys that, wants to come out and want to do boring in that area. Jessica told me, she's a tower chief, and she had talked to somebody she knew who was somewhere in the process, and had told her that things were kind of delayed a little bit, that it might not be 2026, it might be more like 2027, 28, instead of 26, 27. Because, what they were hoping to do was, Macon, us, and whoever, there's 3 of us, trying to get a good price, on the materials for a bundle. And they weren't getting that price. So it kind of, flustered them a little bit and thinking, they're gonna push it just a little bit so they can try to get that price down a little bit. But it was good to hear, because that's what I was gonna present. But today I got the email, that they were gonna come out and do borings and blah, 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 which was good to hear too, because that means they're still moving. But that's not gonna hinder them. And so I was shy of that. And I don't know if you talked to anybody or anybody reached out. Okay. So that's what I know right now. Yeah,
Questions?
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I was gonna call them.
Markings, there are flags marking
Yeah.
portions of it. That's what-
So honestly, I don't know. I thought it was because of the tower, and it probably is. There's so many departments involved in that tower,
Yeah,
and it probably is. Now, when they came out the other day, or the other week, I guess, I think I told you, but it was the day they were here, pretty much, and that you were busy at the time. But they came out, that was the environmental folks.
okay.
And Chris, who we talked to, I asked him, I said, did you guys do this? Did you locate everything? He said, no, not that I know of. He said, but there's a lot of people with their hands in this project, so it probably, somebody did. So I don't know who did, but I'm assuming that's what it's for, is the tower, because it's kind of all related, right, in that area.
Yeah, there are 2 areas. There's like a circle near the bench.
Right,
And then there's another one where there's the sump.
yes, yeah, that's right.
Drainage.
Yeah, yeah. Which leads me to this, is, we're also designing the, parking lot
Yeah.
as well. And we had a meeting, with Jason, with RSNH and Andrew, with Chris, and Chris had somebody else on as well. And so we talked about the parking lot in conjunction with building the tower, because they're gonna need a retention pond. Parking lot will need a retention pond. And, why don't we put our forces together somehow, whatever your design is, or maybe RSNH can design it. But it came down to Chris saying that what they might do is the money they have allocated, for that amount in their budget. So I want to say it was 70,000, but I can't remember, it just comes to mind. That they would give it to us and we would put that in the pot for the parking lot and just do, the whole thing that, satisfies the requirements for the parking lot and the tower site. So, kind of where it stands now, but everything's still up in the air, as to how it's all gonna be managed. But that's kind of where we stand. So at least I've got the two talking, and one's not gonna step on the other's toes, or have to redo something, spend a lot of money to redo something, So, anyway, we're excited about the parking lot. I'm glad that's coming along too, in design, rather. We haven't finished design, but they're slowly working on it because the main focus has been the Bravo project, getting that done. When we get the Bravo project done, everything out there will be completed. It'll be brand new pretty much as of probably 7 years. Because I've been here, almost 7, and we did the main runway, did Alpha, did 220, now we're doing Bravo. So all of that will be brand new pavement. And then if we start working our way this way, and get the main ramp, which I'd love to get done in cement, concrete, possible. But we'll see, it just depends on the cost. But anyway, we've got a lot of good opportunities out there. The fencing project, we've pretty much completed that. If you remember the 220 project, we had additional money left over. So we used that money to do a lot of the fencing, kind of button up over there at Lowe's. And so that's really helped a lot with the deer problem, because that's where they used to come a lot from there, across Buddy Christian and onto the airport. And we've seen a significant, even the USDA who comes out, and inspects, and looks at that, said they have seen a tremendous decline in some wildlife. So we're happy. We still have, some open areas over here, which, we're hoping to incorporate into the Taxiway Bravo project, somehow, if we just put it in that project, we could use it, because hopefully we'll, be over budget and we can use that. So, I mean, everything's looking good so far. Just every day, I'm just thankful, that we got Alpha done, that's such a, but it saved us $3 million in the long run. I mean, by denying the contractor any further work and not approving any of the change orders that were presented, it saved us $3 million. But then we had to deal with the delays and, the back taxing and all that. So was it really worth it? I don't know. But anyway, it's done. Let's see. I think that's all of them. Am I forgetting any of them? I think that's all of them. Yeah. As far as marketing and outreach, I've got a tour tomorrow with the ambassadors, innovation ambassadors, which Davin's on. He's on that, and so they'll be doing a bus tour tomorrow. So I will be giving them a tour, and then there's another tour that I'll be doing. What's Christina doing? What is that? She's
It's a supervisor training. Yeah.
So supervisor training. So Christina, our customer service rep, is in that, and that lady from organizational development asked if they could have their next meeting here at the airport, and if I could kind of talk a little bit. I guess they call me a mentor, as far as a leadership mentor, and talk about, you know, my management style and leadership style. So, so I'll be doing that as well. And do you have anything?
Jay Pullum, one of our, part-time, line folks, is gonna be doing a career day at Oglethorpe Elementary. So that'll be
That's
in
good.
March, so.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Russ, myself, and Davin will be going to an concert, conference, next week. It's a 3-day conference. It's the Southeast, airports. And, it's put on by the folks that, Part 139 FAA, folks that inspect us. And so it's a yearly thing. We go every year. You know, it's good to see them, and talk to the FAA and learn as much as we can about all the changes that's going on. And what, the one thing I like, which I don't like to be, part of, but I do like to see it, you know, a lot of times, you know, as these inspectors go out and inspect airports, they take a lot of pictures. So sometimes, you know, those pictures, they'll put them up there and they'll say, okay, this airport, they don't mention anything. They'll say, this airport, you know, it's what they had there, and either we wrote them up or we told them, you know, blah, blah, blah. We've never been up there, thank goodness. But now, when I was in Floyd County, I was up there one time. And, because we were at 139 airport at one time, but, it was a darndest thing. You know, we'd inspect the airport and there was absolutely nothing wrong with any of the signage, anything. So when the inspector came out, probably 2 days later, we had a sign that was covered with honeybees. I mean, it was just covered with bees. You couldn't see the sign. And we're thinking, where did this thing come from? And it was a little cold, so they were trying to warm up, I guess. But he took a picture of that, doggone if it wasn't up on the screen, you know, for everybody to see. But, anyway, but it's a good learning experience. You know, I'm trying to get Davin, you know, educated more on the operations, Russ more on the operations. But the most important thing is, and you probably know, get to know everybody there, you know. So if you have any issues, any problems, you know, Russ right now, we're starting to reach out sometimes, you know, in other SEC college towns, their airports. You know, how do you do this? What do we do? You know, and at first, I'll be honest, Russ was a little afraid to call him. They were a little intimidated by him. But once he started calling, he realized they've got the same questions we do. You know, they're in the same boat. They were asking more questions than he wanted to ask, you know. So I think it'd be good, you know, even just something like this, if maybe the SEC folks, you know, the airports got together and just, you know, how do you park? Because I got calls this year from Oklahoma, you know, he never dealt with SEC, you know, and he was saying, do these folks travel a lot? I said, oh yeah, get ready. And he wasn't even prepared. He wasn't prepared. But, he did a good job, I guess. But I told him I'd call him back, see how it went, and did. But yeah, it's a different world, you know, when you've got, college town. But that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Can we do back some kind of, to approve it?
But the only thing is, it doesn't have me in attendance. Yeah, I think that was there.
Thank you.
Approve the minutes with the addition. Mr. Alexander is being present.
All in favor? Minutes are approved with the addition of Mac to it.
Got it. Who seconded it?
I think
Okay.
And now we're going to, Old business, we have the Lexington Court. They're moving.
Not really, we didn't meet again this time, but, things are moving on slowly. The mayor commission did approve all those projects that we recommended, so.
Yeah.
You know, there's small amounts of money, but they are moving ahead and at least they're filling in those tiny gaps, you know, in between much bigger, high profile GDOT interchange
Yeah.
renovation. And I know you all have seen what a mess that is, but at least they're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that, what is this? This is the end of January. We probably will start meeting again in February on this.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I'll keep you posted though as we go.
Then is the new business, to take care of the election of a chair and vice chair.
That might change.
Well, I think for now, I would suggest just to be square with the bylaws for what it's worth, you know, that we basically formalize the appointments you've served, you and Jeff have served, you know, since, was it June or July? And, you know, up to the time that you leave. So, we'll agree on that, that just keeps it square with what it says in the bylaws, that it's about to January, so I would, you know, propose a motion that we, you know, modify the interim to the formal designation of chair and vice chair, unless you want two separate motions.
Well, for one, I would not be able to do vice chair, my position.
Oh, all right, well then let's do them separate. So then I move that we formalize the appointment of chair for the election of Jeff as chair. And then he resigns formally, we'll change that.
Yeah, okay.
And we can just let the rules be. So you need a second.
And second, Jeff is chair.
Okay.
All of it.
Results.
Nominations for vice chair.
To a couple of people listening, so we probably should leave that for now, and just make sure it's in the minutes.
Vice chair elections and next month's meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
That probably, I mean, I know Keith, he said he didn't want it.
Well, the other people that haven't served yet, so his position is usually the same as mine, and that is who hasn't served yet.
Yeah.
Should be encouraged to step up and take the turn. So we miss you, but we wish you all the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Glad you're staying a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll still be,
Yeah.
I'll be prohibited from participating.
Don't forget me tomato season.
Yeah, so can we say, you know, maybe between now and the next meeting, we can point it out by email, but certainly we can put it on the agenda to discuss. When I first joined the authority, I served a whole year, I think there was no vice chair. So, it's seemed to follow everybody, you know, but we do need to see if we can fix that.
Move on to standing committee. Updates. Business committee.
That normally is key,
Yeah.
so,
Do you want to go over that? Since you,
Sure.
Keith,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Can you, put it on the screen?
yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Here. I didn't pull this up earlier, obviously. Right.
Yeah, that's the version with mine Post-it notes on it.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So do you want to go over those?
Whatever you want, if you think it will serve the purpose, I can flip through them quickly.
I think that probably would be,
Okay.
good, and see if anybody else has any.
I took the opportunity last week, knowing, that we do want to get this thing wrapped up and finished. So I looked at it and then I actually think that the PDF, I put comments on it, with the post-it notes where they are, and sent those to Devin and to, who else? Yes. I, I always look for typos, as you know, my red pen likes to do that. I didn't find any typos, so that's good. And I think the layout, overall, it looks very nice. And then what I did was I just went through and looked at some issues of readability and format or design, if you like. So if we start right at the top, let me see, which one? Overall, you've got to look for, if you look at the GDOT, fact sheets, and I've brought them up on those, there's a lot less on them in terms of information than we put on this, because actually I think what you guys tried to do was include most of the information on this trifold version that was on Keith's and my original fact sheet. So there's a lot of information, but the problem is that it's small. I don't know if she uses 6 or 4 or an 8 font. It's okay in black, but it's hard to read in the white print. We have to think about the purpose of a fact sheet as people will look at it quickly on the run, build it quickly at a glance kind of thing. And so frankly, the white print is more difficult to read than the black, so that's easy to change. It's just a comment if you.
So you're saying keep the tan, put it in black?
Well, I like the tan
I
and
do
blue
too, I do too.
and
yeah.
the white, so I think
Yeah.
that makes for a nice combination.
Okay.
But you can see where there's tan with black print.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot easier to read.
So the tan, make it black, and the blue you can keep white.
No, I don't know.
You like the black all the way
Make
through?
it black as well, but the
Okay.
white is easy to read from here on that screen, but it's not easy to read.
No, you're right. I mean, I agree. When I printed it off, it is hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might want to think about that. Anything I say is obviously just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it.
Well, it's proven here,
Yeah.
because the white is
I
hard.
mean,
to
I've got
see.
20/20 vision, and I actually just moved to the window to see.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lose people by them squinting at it.
Yeah,
The reason that these are in a much bigger font, but then there's less information.
yeah, that's what we talked about
is that
today,
You can glance at them quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
It is tiny, but we're putting so much stuff in there
Yeah.
that we want. So then what do? It's kind of like you do this, or you do that.
Well, I think if you just at least put it in black.
Black, okay,
Uh,
yeah, because look at this, the black is easy
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
see, with that size.
so that's the first post-it note up there, is question readability, so that you don't want to go and lose people. And then, Devin, if you move to the next. Yeah, the font is small. I mean, I don't know do you know what she used on that? Is it 6 or is it 8?
Since it's a PDF, I can't.
I think it's 6. Yeah. I mean, she could fiddle with it. If I were doing it, I could fiddle with the amount of space, like the way she's indented things,
Yeah,
and just push it up one sliver. Like if it's a 6, make it an 8, and see if you can sort of keep it. But you don't want to lose people because they're squinting at it, saying, well, what does that say?
and could you do this? Could you bring this up,
Yeah,
that
she
down,
could move some of the
like this
blocks.
here, up
Yeah.
here?
She
Yeah.
could steal some space by making the pretty picture of the airplane slightly smaller. I mean, you can
And
do anything.
I have, with that email that I sent back, so I've included her on it and just asked her to address these design issues.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
since she's the
Yeah,
professional on this, I don't know what to do, but she, so
So she'll make it work.
yeah, we'll have a draft that will,
Devin, go to the next one, Devin.
yeah.
That's, actually, here's a content question for you, Mike, because we had, well, there's a question there whether you want those on or not, but maybe those two you do. But the micro park
No,
and
I
the
got,
playground, we've
we'll take
taken
that.
those out.
yeah,
of
we'll
the
take that.
Strategic plan, so you don't want them in here.
No, we'll take that out.
Yeah.
But the other, yes, I think leave in, because I want
These, there, yeah,
the signage thing. 'cause
right,
I was talking to Keith,
Yeah.
Splasky,
Mhm.
and,
Other key, yeah.
yeah. He said there's money left over in some of those accounts
Yeah.
that is meant for, well, we could use it for signs.
Well, we're always still hoping we're gonna get the other entrance, you
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
mean,
And that is still a possibility. They're still talking about
Yeah.
that too, yeah. So,
So, okay, so we leave that one in.
yep,
On the data sources, I made a note there because in the actual body of the document, it's really hard to see where the little superscript number is.
yeah.
And I think she could just make those the same font. It's in superscript, so it's above the line. But don't make them even smaller. They're really tiny.
Especially in white. I can't
Yeah,
even-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Davin, you asked me to just check with you or help you tidy those up. The sources on there largely came off the original fact sheet. So we can make sure that they
Yeah.
conform.
Yeah.
We don't have to take time to do that now. I'll help you with that.
Okay.
And then what's that one? Yeah, because this is a trifold, I don't want to sound too obtuse, but I was thinking, looking at it and thinking, okay, that's page one. Where do you go from there? Do you go inside?
I think that's right, because this,
Then you'd go to that page, to the left hand. Yeah, that, for working on it, they probably need to be numbered. I just blanked for a minute on what comes next.
Mm.
So you just have to check on those, that's all.
I think the URL is wrong on the,
say that again, David.
I believe that the domain name is incorrect.
Can you speak up, please? I'm sorry.
The domain name
Yeah,
on the front
right.
is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Go to flyathens.com.
I think it's FlyAHM, but
Got it.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right.
But check on.
Good catch, man. We really let that one go, bro.
Okay, well, if we, from the cover page, if we go to the one with all the dates, 1893, 1917 on page 2. I don't actually prefer trifold because my brain, I just prefer a straight document. This is what you get into. But is this where we go next? Is where-
So I think the next would then be the visitors passenger would be next,
All right,
I assume, and then you've got
it's gonna be the one.
this, some,
Basic information.
so you would open, you'd have the front page like this, and then you would open it and have basic information on the
Yeah, okay.
left, and
Basic
visitors
in-
passenger.
Okay.
And then you would open it up and have this and this, and then you could
Okay.
turn over and then
All right,
that's the
so
back.
where do we go next? If we go through the comments, just go down to the one with 1893. There, just go up a bit.
One more up.
No, yeah, scroll up a bit.
Scroll up, there's still.
There,
you go.
This right here.
2.5 line section man. That looks like it should go somewhere else. With the key aspects, which might be the last page in the trifold thing. Maybe not. It's a key aspect that you're operating in the back,
Mhm.
and we always have that on, in this old version, we had that right up front in a picture frame.
Mhm.
It draws everybody's attention.
Yeah,
And so
Yeah.
I've just suggested there, it's sort of hanging. I think she probably just didn't know what to do with it.
can we stick it under the airplane on the front, so everybody knows? I mean, that's something to boast about. you know,
Yeah.
if we could put that right under the,
Right under its wheels.
yeah, right under its wheels, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice for everybody. That makes sense, Dan?
Yeah. So there.
Yeah.
And then I think immediately under, or on that same page where it's got 1893 and then the other dates. We need to check, some of those are not attributed as to the source. There is, but again, there's a number down there for 450 acres, but the others aren't, so we just need to check. It doesn't look like.
I think that she copied everything that was from the original fact sheet there,
Yeah.
so,
We can just check that.
okay.
Yeah, because I think that was from our first section on the original sheet.
It's all stripped away from me.
And then on the one right in the middle of that screen, Gavin, where it says proof and a picture of the bank building. Decision and services section.
This one here.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that source number 2 is correct there. I think you and I can go through
Well,
those.
and it actually, it's saying, source 4 and 5 is what it says. It's
Okay,
not,
another-
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was a question I had. I didn't find Mike's name as the manager or the director anywhere, and I really think the name should go somewhere, Mike.
Okay.
Put it-
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I think that needs to go on there.
And it wasn't in the original one, so that's why it wasn't added on this
Yeah.
one, so
Yeah,
we could easily add it.
Moved over that original one, you know?
yeah, just put it right here, like a little business card, I guess, in the front. And put airport director, I suppose, next to it.
Yeah.
I think that's,
There hasn't been an avionics shop
No, where's that at? Which one's that?
adjacent to the T and facilities. Down 4 lines from where you're mouse up. Nope, yeah, they're down. There you go, now left there.
Right here.
We want that out altogether.
Yeah, and this one probably too, again, because nobody's doing any of this, right?
I mean,
Rob, but it's just plug and
limited,
play, right?
yeah.
And is that number of T hangers for lease correct? 77?
Yeah, that's third.
Maybe base rather than house.
Is-
Edge on
House?
base.
Yeah, and what about
It's
your,
used again in Georgia State Patrol facilities. That house, the governor's helicopter. I don't think it's his helicopter, it's.
GSP, that.
and then under fueling facilities, I'm looking at extra things here, because now don't you want to add self-serve?
Is it not on here? Yeah, we could add that for sure.
say that again, Diane.
Self-service fueling,
I guess you could just add full in some.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no base.
Fueling facilities, you put full and self-serve,
Mm.
full service and self-serve.
That's why this original one needed to be updated, because the things that needed fixing.
Yeah, we're changing things all the time. Updating their new stuff. Yeah, so instead of governor, we'll put GSP, that was GSP, no pepper.
And then the next column over, where you've got corporate, military, private and charters. And then what the source was for that, I couldn't find a number. I mean, I know that comes out of the original fact sheet, but what do we have as the source, whatever we want as the source, when is it up to date?
I mean, you tell me, because again, we're basically transporting that information that's from the original fact sheet
Yeah,
onto this, so
well,
whatever the thought process was, I don't know what that
Well,
was.
corporate changes, that'll change because some come and some go. you know, I guess we'll have to make sure everybody's still coming here.
Well,
And it might
one
be
source was
different.
the annual report, so you could just put the most recent annual report with the information's correct. Okay. And
Now,
then,
our hangars have not changed, I don't believe.
You know, the hangers.
Yeah.
But as far as corporate, they got Toyota, Crown, Royal, Atlanta Falcons. I mean, is there anybody new that's been coming in? Feels, those, very private charters. One thing that changes the employees, we've had a vacant position in operations. Because operations, the job description was operations / airport firefighter. And it was so hard to hire somebody for that, because nobody wanted to be airport firefighter. They liked operations. So what we did, we repurposed that position, it was a full-time position. And we were lacking in our firefighting, personnel. So we moved that position to a firefighter. And we did a search for a firefighter, and, we've got somebody coming, turning this 2 weeks, his other job coming here. So now we have 2 firefighters. Instead, so that will really help us because we're trying to transition out of operations being firefighters. But anyway, with that said, does that give us 8? I think that
Yeah,
gives us 8.
that would give us a,
yeah, so you can change that. You've got 2 fire trucks now too, then.
Not yet. We're working on it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends how far you wanna go with this, but.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get some
You know.
federal money on that.
Yeah,
soon.
okay. The other thing is going back to the one on the key aspect, which is on the previous page, where you had the micro park and the children's playground need to come out, because those we did remove Devon under sustainability,
so,
where it says green space / recreation,
right, take that
micro
off,
park under
Yeah.
development,
right,
trails proposed, yeah, could we move beyond that idea?
And I'm making notes too, so,
Yeah.
you and I can go over it. That's what I'm-
So we were talking about the source for the corporate, military, private and charters, that can just be the most recent annual report.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
federal funds. And then Mike gave you some changes there. Is the number of operations right? 41?
yes,
Yeah.
that's updated.
That figure, $222,086 is paid monthly by us, or that's the sum of the monthly.
Can you
payment?
tell me where you're looking at?
The bottom left corner of that page, is left there.
No, that's,
That's an annual
it's
figure.
an annual amount,
We
yeah.
pay
FY.
monthly, but that's the annual aggregate.
Right, yeah, that's made monthly, yeah.
Is that confusing? when you say
Yeah.
monthly? Okay,
And again, we're just following, I just updated the numbers, so I'm just using the language that was there before. so
maybe we
you
should
can
put
change it.
annual payments on, annual payments instead of monthly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that says monthly up there.
or, you can leave monthly payments for administrative overhead, just, totaled 222,086 in fiscal year 23.
Actually, that's misleading. It
Yeah.
could be,
It,
it looks like,
it's
boy,
not
that might.
$2.6 million though.
Yeah. I hope.
I'm sure they'd be very happy with
Yeah,
this.
they
Yeah.
were inflating the number.
Just a little bit. Like the enterprise.
So, aside from those, I think it's up to you guys to decide on the issue of readability. I mean, that's just my suggestion about the right versus the back text.
I think it's a good suggestion, because when you're looking on a computer, it's fine, but when you print it off, it really is
Yeah.
something, so.
Yeah. And you don't want to lose people by having them split it.
Well, there's probably a good amount of extraneous information on here. I know that it was
Yeah.
all of the information in that,
Yeah.
but we could probably trim it down a good bit.
Who is it that's working on it?
That's Allison Dillard, who has done the printing, the company she works for.
Okay. And, she's been doing our annual report for many years.
So,
Yeah, so she's very familiar, with us.
Not an in-house intern.
No.
Gotcha.
Does it?
I will say, after I retired from the FAA, I worked for 4 years for a company that did communications for the FAA. And a trifold like this would usually have about half as much information. as this.
Yeah.
Really?
That's how it.
I
Yeah,
mean, as I said, sheet on.
Yeah.
Fact sheets, they're 2 pages max, which is what this is, or 1 page. And it's again for that idea of at a glance,
Yeah,
so you do have a lot on it. If you wouldn't have cut things, then you've got a task on your hands to decide to chop, whole sections out, or you're gonna have to trim some and leave some.
The section that has like the dates, the years, I kind of like that because it grabs your attention. And it's not so much about the detail, the level of detail on there, but that's the kind of thing that you can look at it and go, oh, this is an old airport, it's been around a long time, and there's how big it is. And
Yeah.
those are the key things.
right,
Kinda
more
grab your-
infographic style
Right.
rather
Well,
than.
that's why these are like that, because people can see quickly.
well, the current initial initiatives, that was, I guess that's more like our strategic plan. But we really don't need all of that, I guess, huh? I mean, like you say, we can just do the bullets.
The other thing you can do too, though, is you can put like a QR code on somewhere that says, if you
That
want
takes
to
you
learn
to-
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the whole.
which
shebang.
is on our website, yeah. That's a good idea, too. Okay.
Definitely fine. You
Yeah, I think we have our strategic plan and, the annual report, we got the annual report on.
Well, I think Diane's been speaking to this kind of throughout the theme for the whole thing is you don't want to lose people.
Yeah.
And sometimes less is more with this
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's
Yeah.
true, that's true, but we wanna, I guess we're proud and we boast, we wanna shove
Well,
it in there. but-
and my thoughts are is, again, what the task that was given to me was take what we currently have and put it
Yeah.
into something. So,
Yeah, I can't criticize.
and so what I need from y'all is what then do we take out? Because really and truly, I don't have any, dog in this fight, but I need to know, what do you think is important?
We need to let Pete have a
Yeah,
a
that's true.
chance to give some input.
Yeah.
So be very diligent in working. So I mean,
Yeah.
when Pete and I put this together, what we try to do is just get as much basic information together as we could, but keep it to 2 pages in a
Yeah.
very traditional format. If you look at these, they're thin, but they're eye-catching, but they're like that for a reason, and that is, you could look at them, here,
Yeah,
look, in
yeah.
between talking and then, and the like,
But
at
I-
a glance, what is it?
yeah,
But if you want stuff to go out, then you're gonna have to do some serious thinking about what to leave in.
I mean, I do see some things we can take out, right? I
Yeah.
do like the trifold because it's easy to carry, you stick it in your pocket,
Yeah.
it's not, burdensome or anything.
Well, then the other decision is what sequence you want the tripod to be in.
Well, I kind of like the way it is.
Yeah,
I do like the way it is right now.
but I mean, if you take out a whole big chunk,
Well, it'll just free up a lot of space where it'll be bigger and
Yeah.
more eye-catching, like you say, and it's not so, I remember when I was in college, they started handing out the Wall Street Journal. They taught you how to read it, or the financials, what to look for, and not, because if you just looked at it, it's like, oh my goodness, this is confusing.
yeah.
But, but anyway. Yeah, there's some things like this, current, potential initiatives, we could take out some of that stuff that,
Well, please look, I think this is a great improvement. I think you guys have done some great work. But I think there's, and talking about the size of the font, and everything, if we are able to take some things out,
Yeah,
then you can make things bigger and easier to read too.
yeah.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, Davin and Keith have worked hard on this and they really haven't, they've gotten to it.
And again, I do not care what is zoned.
Oh, I know you don't.
I'm not, I mean, that's not,
No.
you know, what I need is I need some direction as to what you want to keep in, and what you want to keep out. I mean, that's, you know.
You're
that's-
definitely getting that right now.
I think you guys have done some great work. so
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so
If
too.
we're gonna do that, it would even complicate it further by taking out stuff, but then there are other things you could think about putting in, like in terms of the ranking, you know,
What ranking?
of this airport relative to other airports in the state, you know,
Yeah.
like a lot of these are what you're, you know, sort of ever present with a map of the state and
Yep.
the effect,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Look how much space that takes, you see.
Yeah.
So it's always good with things like this is to look at white space, or in this case, tan and blue.
Yes, right, yeah.
So you can have a shot at it, and then if you want me and Keith to mull over things with you, you know, we have broad shoulders, we'll listen.
I'll take a stab. I'll give it back to Davin and he can send it to Keith, cause,
Yeah.
now that Davin and Keith look at it, send it to you and,
Yeah. The
that'll
other,
just be my opinion as to what I feel like we probably don't need in here, I guess, but
well, the other thing is you could put a Q code on it like that.
I like that.
You've got stuff that's in the annual reports
yeah.
that you don't necessarily want to duplicate in this.
And to Diane's point, I think there might be some things where you don't have to take out the subject. It
Yeah.
could be though that it's just like corporate, and it could be that you have more detail about who the corporate tenants are, or that's just an example. You know, we have to,
Yeah.
so there may be another way to do it, too, just something.
Yeah. No, good job, Davin. It's really looking good.
It's great.
I mean, again, I haven't really done much, so.
You put it together, man.
Well, Allison, I mean, Diane and Keith put it together, and
Yeah.
then Allison redesigned it, so I mean, other than updating a couple numbers, that's all I've done.
Yeah, well, let's see what Keith says. He
Okay.
was good, you know,
That
with
sounds good.
ideas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could really go nuts if you wanted to. You could have a
Yeah.
fact sheet on the history of the airport and make it visual with those nice dates and map and everything else. And just, you know, like GDOT, there's a whole bunch of fact sheets. They've got
Yeah.
a calculator fact sheet, they've got an economic impact fact sheet, they've got, you know, history and so on. Depends how crazy you want to go.
Yeah.
Really,
I like
so-
the second page. I mean, to me, that's spread out pretty good. This one, right in the middle here is real tight. That's really what I would work on.
Yeah,
And then I'll just give it back and you guys can do what you want with it,
okay.
but anyway, okay.
All right.
Operating committee? Air service,
Oh, okay, it's under other business, so.
air service development, mapping.
Nothing right now. No, we're still, working with Meat and Hunt. Love Meat and Hunt. But you know, it's always good to venture out and, you know, see what else is out there. So I might do an RFP, you know, and talk to others as well and see what kind of air service development, programs they have, that they can offer. But right now, you know, and, you know, Doug, he continually talks to, you know, airlines and it's just a rough go right now, you know, with the way things are.
Wasn't Spirit the one that's declaring bankruptcy? And they were one of the ones,
They were trying to do the merger. And I think Jill and
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was one of the airlines that.
No, Spirit wasn't.
Wasn't
Mhm. We had a Velo, Breeze. I'll be honest with you, I know we're being recorded and all, but, you know, as you know, I was talking to a Velo and, talking to several of them, but Velo was one of them. Started talking to them pretty good, next thing I knew, they're going to Atlanta, you know? But, things happen, you know, there's one flag carrier in Atlanta that, you know, really makes things happen, and, I don't know if there was some talk between them and, you know, whatnot, but, they decided to go with Atlanta and stuff. So, but anyway, we continue to talk to others.
have you guys ever talked to Norwegian?
We did, but it's been a little while. Probably wouldn't hurt to call him again. Then there was another one I wanted to call to. Oh, yeah. I want to call, we can get offline on this one, but there's another one I'd like to call. It's doing a little work in the state as well.
I know the region's got kind of different businesses.
They do, yeah, which, yeah, that'd be good. I think the last time I talked to them, it was in Scottsdale, and they weren't quite interested at that time to do anything. They did talk a little bit about, going on the Florida market from here, but, then they just kind of went in other directions.
Some of them were struggling with a dress code.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, moving on to other business, we have a building request to look at, for 1280 Coon Street, 300 U Street. That's the same one?
They are.
So these are the ones that you visited and talked to us before.
I believe, this 1280 Oconee Street, I believe Stephen had joined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one, the Gaten School Road, no, we have not
Okay.
spoken with, not yet.
And is that the one, is that the one where they came to us?
We did, somebody came and talked to us.
I think
I believe the applicant had.
they
come.
did,
Yeah.
Yeah. but
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen just sent me, and he resent me because I couldn't get onto it. The plans for that, and I sent it to you, and maybe you can pull them up, but
Did you just send them to me?
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But that was for the 450 and 460 days, School Road, and what you got in front of you is a 1280 Pony. But I didn't have anything in front of you for that, but we can pull it up. After that.
You want to look at the application report?
Which one do you want to go over first?
1280 is first on the list. so
All right, let's do that one
might as
then.
well
All right.
So that's one we haven't seen at all.
No, we haven't seen that one yet, have we? 1280.
1280, I believe you did. That was the one that
Okay.
Stephen had.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's right, it
This
is.
is the
That's that.
location that is right across from Red and Black Liquor Store on Oak Street.
My street restaurant.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was also a
You gotta
appliance
go-
location, a U-Haul spot.
Really small parcel, right?
Yeah, well, so it's a misleading parcel. That's part of it. It's a rather deep parcel and so,
We had a good discussion about that.
Yeah.
For the bank, ordinary people.
so they had come through for their master, to the planning commission. Much of what y'all had talked about here last time was brought into it. But the main part about this is that it won't be more than, 2-story units. Their GDOT is doing their right in, right out on it. The main thing that sort of spurred conversation was that there will be a large retaining wall. Because from Ann Street down to this property, significant decline, about 16 to 20 feet in some spots.
With Ann Street higher?
Yes. Part of that plan was to allow better pedestrian accommodations, as well as conversation about adding, essentially a bike, not a ramp, but essentially a bike lane, on the stairs itself to have folks do that. Mostly what y'all had talked about was incorporated, so no reflective material. It's not gonna be more than 2 stories. That's the brunt of it.
Yeah.
From, at least how it impacts from this body. So if you want, do you have any other questions about that one?
No, I think we had a long conversation, I think, a little bit about it. That gave us good understanding of what they were trying to do. I'm glad they're developing it, but they've always been a kind of scruffy area. You know.
So.
And where do you stand now? Do you need a recommendation right now on this one?
That one I'm not too sure about.
'Cause
Getting a recommendation to Stephen is better safe than sorry.
Yeah,
But I know that they had already come through for the master, so that recommendation, I believe, would be coming to the mayor and commission.
Yeah.
Um,
so,
And they're both PDs, right?
correct.
yeah,
So you would just be giving your.
yeah, that's true, yeah.
It's not coming. We can give you insight.
Well,
I think your take is probably.
if you wanted to, mean, is it possible to make a recommendation with the various, of course, it's gonna be that way anyway. They're not gonna have shining things. It's all right.
Right, it's
So,
all rated.
yeah, so we can do that.
Lighting has to follow the
Yeah.
airport authority standards for, orange light and certain
Yeah.
types of.
We'll just say as long as they adhere to, okay. Yeah, we'll just do the manager.
Yeah, I think it should not be overly bureaucratic.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's good with you guys, I'll do it.
That would be my take on it. We've heard it, we didn't object to anything previously.
Okay.
It was good to have them come
Sure,
here and
absolutely.
talk to us in that
Yeah.
amount of detail. I'd like to see that every time, if it's possible. It really helps us understand. So,
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so then moving on to Gainesville Road. This is the hospital authority property that has never had a hospital authority thing on it.
Yeah.
So this one, I believe either Brett Nave or a representative from WNA was here. Are you a representative for this?
Your WNA, I know Bud Bacon, I know we've been talking to you guys, but Lindsay apologized, he wanted to be here today, but he had something come up, so.
What kind of,
So, yes, I've had some dealings with this, so I'm not quite as fluent in it as. Basically, we're requesting two special uses, in the airport overlay, one to allow, single thing like trash, I believe, and the second is to allow restaurant and bar uses. And overall, it's just a residential development, the commercial, parcel at the top there.
that Gainesville Road
That's
up
on
there?
Gainesville Road is to the right.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Where's the commercial again?
It would be the large building, basically,
Okay, at the top right.
Gaines.
rest is, attached, single family. And then on the bottom of the screen there is basically some accessory dwellings.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I remember those.
Yeah, if that big red block is the commercial unit, where's the parking, if there are gonna be shops or something in there?
It's basically parked behind it, and then I think it's,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, I see.
Just, it's like 9,700 square feet.
So how many units, or is it just one?
The idea currently, they have figured out exactly how much space it's going to be. Depends on what some of them might be one of those where they would just do a build out and split into, or it would be just one bigger one and a couple of smaller ones as well. I might see the single tenant taking some.
Big restaurant.
Parking for a big restaurant like that would be problematic, I think.
You take that out, it could be.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, it's my first time being at the airport, working meeting on
This
this
side,
side, yeah.
yeah, price for a long time was
Yeah.
on that side.
Oh.
Planning department side.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
there
yeah.
for 11 years.
That's right.
Mark says hi, by the way.
Oh. The gift that dropped off. from-
Very much so. We talked about it this weekend. He loved it.
Can you refresh my memory? What was the tallest structure? How many stories?
It would be 3 stories.
There are two on top of
Restaurant.
garages.
Correct.
Is that an issue for the overlay zone?
No, not in that area, right? To the bro.
I want to say it's like, I don't know, that first one.
Yeah,
And I think that's-
something like
I think
that,
it's-
yeah.
Does it show any, plan views, they
Is
have,
it Sunnyview Road? Is that the?
Yes,
Correct.
like, of the housing? copy of,
It might be, Stephen's email should have, I also do have printed out versions of
I remember.
renderings.
I think I remember what they looked like.
Yeah, there's a sign on it for asking for rezone permission for today.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the elevation.
There you go.
So what was the density that you were anticipating on that? I know we discussed it.
Yes, I think it's 182 bedrooms.
There's a lot.
Yes.
So it's like,
69 units with 10 ADUs,
well,
all of which are 2 and 3 bedroom.
I suppose this is, factoring into what the recommendations were in those major reports for the corridor, and that is more bedrooms and rooftop units, etc.
I will play a card. This is a corridor that has become piqued interest within the community and within the planning department for future land use efforts.
Yeah.
Currently, the overlay, not just the airport one, but the Gain School overlay stagnates much of what the corridor can do, hence why the request for restaurant and bars and some of the rezone requests is part of this as well. So as we're moving forward into the future, working in tangent with y'all, trying to figure out what the best way forward is for this corridor, as it is one that is heavily trafficked, both by pedestrians and by vehicles. I know that, the main runway is also heavily trafficked.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and then our secondary runway is the one that one. So it's not as busy, as the main one. Or the airplanes aren't as big.
But it was, it was a major recommendation, it was one of the priority recommendations in the ULI report and in the corrections in folder study. So where's the restaurant bar?
It would be.
In that big commercial block?
Somewhere.
It's big.
Front on Gain School, basically. Yes, yeah.
At the corner of Sunnyvale and Sunnyview and Gainesville.
Right.
Is
Yeah,
that
the
not
parking
an,
behind. Yeah,
is that not an issue to the school that's catty corner across
Imagine they would probably put it.
just far enough?
No.
Get out the table. Gotcha.
so is that just up to the developer who will eventually be a tenant there, or are they actually looking?
I know that the developer has been, in touch with real estate consultants, trying to get this site, somewhat marketed, kind of an idea for what appetite is out there. That was why, when I was initially writing this report back in, it was, they were just spitballing ideas. We were trying to figure out where those ideas would fit in terms of the zoning use categories and to broaden or narrow down our requests as such. So my impression was he knows there would need to be some commercial there, but desire from a lot of places to go there, but anything specific, not really.
A lot of retail groups that have to be around the program.
Yeah, true. That's right.
Well, and there's always been a shortage of decent restaurants in this, slightly better now than it was, but some of them go as fast as they can,
Yeah.
because we're in a fair location.
Did we get something?
Yeah, from the airport position, how does the bar, fit in? I mean, why does that fit into the overlay? What are you concerned about relative to, says here in the narrative, permanent bar? How does it, what decision does that have, or what does the impact does that have on the overlay?
It's a density issue, a mass of people. Something catastrophic. That's why it's very. Why we care, that's it, yes.
Well, just, you know, we just had our annual meeting down with Cedar Creek, okay? And I'm not here representing, I'm just a resident. And, I presented this at the meeting, along with the Lakeview Shoals project. It's that massive project. Lakeview project. And this particular project discussion that we had, we've got a lot of questions, number one. This is really a drastic change in look for the neighborhood there. Which is good, except one of the requests that was in the narrative is that Woody Point, Woody Street, which goes through, that street going through, they want to connect it with the existing roads. So now we have traffic coming out of that neighborhood that will be able to go straight out and dump on the Pond Road, dump on the Gaines School Road. If you look at the diagram, the entrance and exit to this facility going up the Gaines School Road is right across from the entrance of Pond Road. Right in between our entrance and our exit. And traffic. And so I've already asked, I think it was about, okay, but I've already asked about a stoplight, and there's no stoplight in the project because stoplights cost $1 million. They don't have $1 million right now to take out of the project. You would have a dramatic effect on the project. So you're gonna have to do something there. You just can't dump there's 69 units here, right? 69
units with 10.
Anyway, and it is a very high depth. The density is significant. And to have all that dump out there, and even trying to think about them wanting to turn to the left. Anytime we got people that are coming out, I mean, I don't know what the traffic study has to do, but it would just be very concerning.
Well, do we need to, as an authority, do we need to vote on this?
We need to have some form of recommendation to bring
Right.
forward.
Can I ask you a question about the traffic lights? You know the one on Atlas,
Yes.
the big, huge, really huge,
Mhm.
where they were required to have a stoplight at that intersection. But there isn't any requirement for this one in the same way from the planning department, is there?
So that type of recommendation, twofold. One is the traffic study that the developer provides. There are certain thresholds that need to be met in order to have those requirements. So, our traffic engineer, reviewed what was submitted and didn't find that there was sufficient need for traffic light with this property. The report that the planning department put out for this one does mention also that, this corridor is, like I said, a corridor of interest, and that, a redevelopment of how the corridor functions from a transportation point of view has been talked about by, several commissioners of the east side area. And Gaines School is being looked at as one of those areas. And if that were to happen, staff recommended that that intersection specifically needs to be a point of interest, because of those concerns. But those concerns as they come through in the future, again, the traffic engineer didn't find anything, specific within what was supplied by the developer.
Yeah. So, Ross, you know that huge development on Lexington we're talking about, it's a really big complex, and it's over the road from the storage unit, Devon storage unit place. They were required to have a traffic light there because of the amount of potential traffic, so you're saying it didn't actually meet that same criteria in this one?
I'm not here to do the math, to be quite honest. That
Well,
would be.
and that's outside our.
Yeah.
Outside our purview anyway. It really is not what we're here to
Yeah, we're not.
to
It's just.
remark on.
It's not
Yeah.
something we can.
So,
Judgment.
let's go ahead and, if you guys are comfortable, take a vote. A recommendation.
Recommendation.
And also something, what are we actually voting?
Yeah.
Well, you know, as far as in line with other developments we've approved or have concerned about, you know, we have concerns when there's anything reflective of replacing lighting, all the things that have been since rewritten into the ordinance to disallow, you know, by statute or ordinance sake, the density is higher than the neighboring parcels. It's not higher than some of the other outlying student housing development. Cars Hill one, you know, that pushed us right up to our edge. It's a building up on a hill. It's tall. It's got a lot of people. It's got a lot of density, and we approved, we had no objection to that. This is, you know, if this area was being developed in today's age rather than 80 years ago when everybody had a 1 acre lot, this is what we do. And probably a lot closer to the airport than just a half mile. It's, you know, I think having looked at dozens of these, you know, this is a sign of the times, and for us to have any sort of objection to, you know, if there was a high rise right there, problem. This is, you know, ideally single family sort of residence, you know, townhomes that, yeah, to make an objection to.
So you want a motion? Or
Yes,
have-
we have a motion to approve zoning request for 450 to 460 hospital adults.
Second.
All in favor? So the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you for being here.
Of course,
We appreciate you.
my apologies for being a little late today.
Oh, you're fine.
Such a beautiful day, I decided to go to the wrong building.
I think it's just a matter of, you know, crossing T's, dotting I's, that still has to be, that really should be a motion that
Oh, okay.
for Mike to make that in his manner, because
Yeah.
it's yeah, so,
Yeah, to the letter you mean?
right, so.
Avenue, yeah.
So I-
Great one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of it coming from the authority, it's coming from the authority to Mike,
Yeah, right, yeah.
to the commission.
That's right, yeah.
It looks like our next meeting will be on Tuesday, February 22nd.
Yeah,
At which time we'll all take care of the election of the vice chair. With that,
thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I move, second, first, third,
Yeah, whatever. All those.
approved.
I think you're right. I mean, when I remember the one development that was right at the edge of the runway,
Yes.
where we had to say, forget it, because they're going to 3-story apartments within spitting distance of the end of the runway. I mean, that, you know, that was an extreme. This is not the time. This is.
We gotta let people build townhomes on land that, you know, they're buying, and if they can't be successful at that, then they'll do something else with the land.
Yeah.
But, you know, if,
You notice the Cedar Creek residents, we need to talk. If they want to object, they can go to the.
sure, right, but the right venue for that is to the mayor and commission, not
Yeah.
here, you know, we have.
It's funny, I've got a friend that lives in Cedar Creek, he called me yesterday about this project.
Really?
And I said, from an airport perspective, we don't really have any issue.
Right.
I said, the commission's the one that's gonna have to decide, and that's where your issues belong.
Exactly.